Now, before you all get too excited, I do want to temper expectations with this video by saying that this isn't anything massive or huge that's going to make breaking news or breaking headlines, but because this is a channel that most often talks about Knights of the Old Republic, we've had a lot of negative videos in regards to the media storm surrounding the game. So in today's video, I want to talk about something more positive, something that we learned today. So if you haven't been keeping up with the news surrounding this game, there's a lot of drama. There was a massive media storm a couple of months ago now because Sony removed the official Knights of the Old Republic remake trailer from their YouTube channel, which Sony responded to and cleared up and said this was normal, but I've gone into a whole video about that, so I'm not going to go into it now. Since then though, everything that I've been seeing and hearing online from people is that the game is dead, it's been silently cancelled by Embracer, but thankfully, today, we got confirmation that it hasn't been cancelled. Every several months, Embracer do a report that goes into detail on the company, its games, its finances, its dealings and its issues, everything. And for the past, almost 2 years, these fiscal reports are where we've gathered the majority of the official information surrounding the KOTOR remake. Now, during today's report, the CEO Lars Wingerfor was asked specifically the question, how are you feeling about the Knights of the Old Republic remake? I know it's your favourite question. Now, the last part about it being his favourite question is a joke because Lars often gets asked about the KOTOR remake. I even asked him the same thing earlier this year. But because Embracer don't own this IP, they don't own StarWars or KOTOR, more often than not they can't say anything without the approval of Lucasfilm, which is why, people don't respond to these offshoot questions during reports and during interviews. Anyway, after the question was asked, the whole panel started laughing and smiling, and then Lars says, "I notice anything I say to this becomes a headline, so that's my only comment." And Lars is totally right, and I can almost guarantee you that if anybody does talk about this game in the media, they are going to spin anything he says. For example, I just read an IGN report that was already doom and glooming because he said no comment, and I just remember when he said the same thing when he answered my question a few months ago, and despite the fact that he was smiling and he seemed really jovial while saying no comment, everybody just jumped on the bandwagon of the game is dead, the game is cancelled, oh woe, oh woe. Hell, I was even criticised for saying that he was smiling and laughing by people online who I guarantee didn't even watch the report, with some people saying that I was a hack and that I was falsely reporting and that he didn't do that, even though he literally did. So if you're watching this video and you want to go on Reddit and say that I'm a shit YouTuber and a liar, how about you get off your own asses and do your own digging and watch the 2-hour report, watch their body languages and the way they respond, and read the extensive list of documents and think again before attacking me over something that is clearly public. Anyway, I needed to get that off my chest after last time. The fact is, the CEO was in high spirits during this report, which he hasn't been for a while, and the fact that the whole panel is laughing at this question really does suggest to me that things aren't as bad as we think they are. This game is a huge thing for Embracer, they've made that pretty clear in past reports. And if things were in dire straits, for example like they were a few months ago when the deal with the Savvy Group, I think they're called, broke down, they were all dejected and really upset, and you could tell through their body language that this was a really bad moment for the company. However, every time they get asked about the KOTOR remake, again, which they've made clear is a very important thing to them, they laugh and they joke about it, which is not something that a CEO of a company would do when he's trying to make his investors and his shareholders money. But I do want to make it clear though that their body language and the way they respond to things is just something I'm telling you they did. It's not confirming anything, but as an optimistic person, I'm just giving you my perspective here. But if that's not enough and doesn't give you any cautious optimism, well, in their documents for the report, which is on their website, is the list of games that they have in development at the moment. And guess what game is on that list? The Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. Now, Embracer as a company have been going through a lot of issues lately, as I said, due to a big deal falling through earlier in the year. And as a result, they've had a major company-wide restructuring. They've downsized a lot of things, they've unfortunately let go of a lot of employees, and they've cancelled and divested a bunch of their projects and games. And if we go back to this same list that they released earlier in the year regarding their announced games that are in the pipeline, we can actually see a few of them have been removed as of November's report today. But games such as Twisted Tower, Gangs of Sherwood, which it seems they no longer have anything to do with, and also Bloodless, they are all missing from today's report, yet they were there in February and they haven't been released. And this suggests to me that they aren't unwilling to make changes to this specific list regarding their announced games on what's happening with the projects themselves. Now yes, this doesn't confirm those games have been cancelled or divested or affected, however it's interesting that some of these games have disappeared from the current pipeline today. And with the Knights of the Old Republic remake, if it was in the same boat and that it had been divested and they were no longer committed or they had cancelled it, like these other games, it would be very likely that it would have been removed from this list. But that is not the case. It is still here and the game is still officially in development according to Embracer. And I know there's going to be a lot of you that are going to ask, why don't they just say something? Why don't they say, yeah, we're still developing the game, it's all going well? Well, it's likely because of two reasons. The first is approval. They don't own Star Wars or Knights of the Old Republic. They own the license to making the remake. However, when you own a license for something, anything surrounding it often needs to be approved by the license holder. And I know firsthand how strict Lucasfilm are. And so literally anything Embracer or Saber says about the game likely needs some kind of approval from Lucasfilm, which can take months. And secondly, this is an answer that some of you probably won't like, but they just don't have a reason to. If things are going okay, or even if they're not, to some studios there's just no benefit in saying anything to the media. If this gets revealed in, say, a year's time and the game has been developed and is looking good, no one is going to care about the fact that they were silent for 3 years. And if things are going really badly still with big titles like this, you get whistleblowers and you get people that leak information, and another possible positive is that there has been no leaks whatsoever since the development of the game moved over to Saber. So I know the silence is deafening and annoying, but the silence to me is actually quite a good thing. I even spoke to the former Aspyr developers about this and they said the same thing, that if they're not leaking anything or they're not complaining about how badly the project is going, then it's possible that the project is actually going really well, they just can't talk about it yet. But of course, that is total conjecture. I am an optimistic person and that is just another possible positive sign. But we'll see. We have the Game Awards around the corner, so you never know, something might show up there. Don't forget to like the video and share it, and if you want to keep up to date with everything KOTOR, be sure to hit the subscribe button to join the biggest growing Knights of the Old Republic community on YouTube. And if you want more KOTOR goodness, you should check this video out. It has tragic facts for every single companion in the series. Some things you might not know, so I'll see you there.